New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Global Focus Today. I am your host, Reverend Sharri Johnson, and it is my delight and thrill to be able to introduce our guest for today, because she's not just one of my favorite people in the world. All of my guests fit that category, but she is like a daughter to me. She's part of my family. She's hooked to my heart, and she is really, really cool. Her name is Dr. Laura Mock, and she grew up in a fairy tale childhood, I think, wandering in the woods and communing with the trees and the flowers and the birds and the bees. And then she got lost, like we all do, and discovered what it's like to take a spiritual journey of your own. And now, through her ministry, Vistara School of Wisdom, she helps other people learn how to figure out what their journey looks like and blossom through it and bloom through it. So please help me welcome Dr. Laura Mock.
Oh, hi. That's always so sweet. You have the best introductions ever.
That's because I have the best guests ever.
Oh, it's because of you. It's the energy. We appreciate you.
So I understand you have something new and wonderful happening at Vistara, and I want to hear about it because it's very dear to my heart.
Sure. So the Vistara piece is that, really grassroots, just responding to the community and the inspirations that I had and the consciousness that I began to embrace and expand upon. So, yeah, as of probably not long after I talked to you last, and I'm going to share this video with her. So, dear Cecilia, Gallery, Michael and Cecilia Gallery, founded about 20 years ago a little spiritual retreat place in the mountains of North Carolina. And I know Sherry's very prejudiced to the mountains of North Carolina. And I've been going there for a long time. A mutual friend and mentor of mine mentioned to me years ago. And so it's this little simple, sweet little, there's 4 cabins, the main house, and that's the only place that has running water. And there's a reason for that, but there's three other cabins that I remember when I heard, what do you mean there's only one cabin with running water? But they have very fancy, very beautiful, very clean, very not creepy composting potties. I can't believe I'm here talking about that right now. But anyway, it's important to know because there's this gorgeous waterfall that runs through it. And this water that turns into probably one of the most grandest waterfalls I've ever seen. And Sherry knows my husband, Franklin, and we traveled to North Carolina, and he is the waterfall connoisseur. And he often tells people this is hidden in the woods it's a cavern, obviously, between 2 mountains. And he said people would just, if they knew it was there would be flocks and flocks of people there. It is that gorgeous, that huge, that powerful. But here are these beautiful, Michael and Cecilia developed this place really because that Michael in particular at the time really felt a calling to serve and be able to give people a retreat. And so Cecilia cooked all the meals, and they weren't there to really counsel necessarily. It was just there to they attune to the energy. There's a lot of native energy on the land, and they attuned to the energy. Michael actually physically cleaned it out. It had gone in disrepair for quite a while, and I believe the story is, which would be better coming from Cecilia than me. You may need to interview her. I'm going to have to give you her name. But two huge, big trash bins of just stuff that he just pulled out of the creek. And so literally his blood, sweat, and tears were in that place. And they just loved people enough to protect this place, to literally clear the energy, to keep it clean and sacred. And when you walk on the land, you can feel it. And it became home to me very quickly. I quickly sent everyone I knew that was open and interested in just communing with the sacred within to go there. It's very easy to get away there. Um, and so, fast forward, Cecilia and I became very close friends. Michael transitioned 2 years ago yesterday, um, and Cecilia is still there. Um, and through that time that I knew him, Michael, I think he was a lot of our teachers, and Cecilia as well. And so through that transition, it was Cecilia was at a place where where am I? What's going to happen to the quiet place? Where are we going to go? And there's, we all go through journeys of figuring things out and just listening to spirit without hesitation. And at the same time, they were very supportive of Vistara. I have Cecilia as one of my sages on the council Vistara has women. And men. Right now, it's all women, but mentors of mine that have been mentors for a while on our Sage Council to help, really selfishly to help me, because the spiritual integrity is really important to me. Um, and so I think everyone needs a mentor, right? But so Cecilia is a part of that. She and Michael were huge supporters of me doing this Vistara and creating that space. And without sharing too much more, it just kind of she said, I really feel like it's time for me to begin to go out to my family in Iowa. And I don't know why we didn't think about this. I don't know why it was in front of my face the whole time, but I would really like for you and Franklin to be the head custodians and of the quiet place moving forward, and for Vistara to use it to serve, because our missions are the same, to serve in the highest good for all, not to push an ideology or anything like that at all, just more to help people commune within themselves and commune with the sacred land, which is also a reflection of them, and just love people where they are, and again create that sanctuary. And so she kind of took us by surprise. I remember coming upstairs and saying, I think Cecilia just offered for us to take over the quiet place and allow however it was going to shift to serve um, the school that we've started. I think she just kind of handed us the keys to that. And I was like, what do you think? And he was like, well, of course. Well, yes. I was like, okay. So long story short, we're not moving there right now. I have a young son here, but I have a group of really beautiful people, facilitators and practitioners within the school, that we're going to oversee the quiet place and figure out how we're going to go forward with, if there's going to be retreats there, how we're going to serve and commune with that way. But also with Vistara, we're going to offer immersive retreats as well. Silent retreats are really important, and immersive retreats within the arts and within nature there as well. So I don't know if that's kind of a long explanation, but we're really excited. I mean, I did not see it coming at all. But we're going to start a slow transition starting in July, a big in early 2024.
Oh,
So it'll be a place where people can go, and I really hope you come.
Well, I was thinking you're going to need somebody to come and do a blessing when you open that place.
We are, well, and we are going to do a ceremony. We're doing this beautiful sacred ceremony in September because she's coming back for a couple months in September. And we've got this whole ceremony planned, but more blessings the merrier. And Laura Fleming, who is a practitioner and she's a shaman within the school, she's going to facilitate that ceremony. And we're going to just honor each other. But it's my intention to serve the community of the Quiet Place in the highest good for them, as well as quietly bringing in the sacred school wisdom, the Vistara school wisdom to serve. And I frankly don't know the whole story. I think following spirit without hesitation has been my my mantra. And boy, you just never know what's going to happen when that happens. So I'm trusting that it's all going to show itself. And I definitely have some inspirations, but.
Well, you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like conscious evolution in action.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to steal that.
You don't have to. It's yours. Take it. It's a gift.
I will say
that's one of the questions I ask everybody. And, how does what you do support, enhance, develop conscious evolution? But the verb for you is demonstrate. You're demonstrating conscious evolution.
Yeah, I think for a long time on my journey, I was very in tune with the feminine energy of inspiration, and that's our intuitive side, and but the doing side felt scary when I was younger, and now it just all is one, and you just move through it, and I know that the Quiet Place, for that reason, it will be people that are not necessarily all students in Vistara or like want to be a practitioner in Vistara, a facilitator. But it will be for some of those people as well. It's just a place where, the sacred is found within. And I know I've talked to Missy from Emerson, my mentor, a lot about this. And, the way I look at Emerson is so powerful in consciousness, right? And it's the books and it's the study. And what I wanted to do is to create for Emerson students, for anyone, for all people, whether they're students or not, is a place where people can just go and commune. And it's a physical representation of what we've been reading in books, and it's putting it into action. And so we want to have all those sacred mediums there of art. At times, it won't always be like that. Sometimes it'll just be quiet and sacred. And then other times it will be, recently the way it came through was the divine has a language. And it comes through in the sacred mediums on earth, which are art, visual arts, expressive arts, dance, music.
Don't forget poetry.
Poetry. Well, yeah, all the expressive arts, right? Writing, like all of that.
And all of those things have one thing in common, and that thing is harmony.
That's right.
That those expressions are in harmony with the frequency, the vibration of nature. Quantum physics teaches us that everything that exists is really just vibration.
It is. And it's so funny because I'll tell you how it came to be, but when we delineated it a little bit, right? So it was the branches we call now the sacred mediums, but it's almost like branches on a tree, which were nature, visual arts, expressive arts, dance, and movement, music, which of course is, vibration and music, sacred wisdom practices, and metaphysics. Well, if you look at all 7 of those things, they all are this. Nature is vibration. Nature is quantum physics. Nature is art. It's everything. And so the visual that came through, because I'm really, really just a student of this myself, I just allow it to come through and we'll see what's going to happen, right? But the visual is always a tree. And
absolutely.
And what I recently saw was how Vistara is serving. And again, I think this is not just our thing. This is, like you said, a global consciousness thing.
is.
But
It
to
is.
look at it as a tree and these branches, let's say someone is attracted to the arts or someone's attracted to poetry or dance and movement, and they see that metaphorically, that's that little branch glistening on their walk, and they look at it and they begin to want to explore it a little bit more. Oh, I really like the way dance makes me feel. I want to explore. And then you get on that branch but then you begin to creep in closer and closer to the trunk. And then by the time you go in, you get to the trunk, and then you go inside the tree. And then by the time you're in the tree, you're going down into the roots, into the wisdom within, down below, ancestral, like all of that. And then you can go up to the heavens, so to speak, above. And when you really embrace your wholeness, when that sacred medium brought you in within, all of those branches, all of those sacred mediums are one inside of you. And then you begin to branch out, and you feel whole, and you know that you're not even feel, you know this, you know you are one in that consciousness. And then without even trying, you may even form your own branch, and you get really excited about poetry, or you get excited about integrating something. And then now you have this, shimmery little branch over there. And then someone is walking under that tree one day and sees your branch. I'm like, ooh, I'd like to climb up there, and that's kind of how we see Vistara, is those sacred mediums are there because it's the divine language on the planet. It has the vibration, it has the consciousness, and it may be where our earthly self feels safe to invite us in. But when you really are in the vibration, you're not having someone tell you what to do with that piece of art. You just get to vibrate with whatever you're in. And then that's like home. And you're a child again, and you're joyful, and you go within, and then you branch out. And I mean, what a beautiful world. That's the world that I'm living in. And it's the world that I believe is more true than anything else. So Vistara is the physical representation of that. We're just the playground that people come in and find their own inner guru within themselves, right?
I love that you have a tree for
it's
your.
always been a tree for us.
Because for me, a tree is a symbol of both infinite life and infinite possibility. And it is not only is it always opening, always expanding at the top, it is also always expanding.
At the
bottom balances the top, the bottom mirrors the top.
What is below is above, what is above below.
So, oh yeah.
It's infinite. It's in the infinite cycle. It's just, don't even get me started. I love it so much. And I've just meditating on a tree, just that alone.
Oh, I have to show you
me so much joy.
Hold on. I'm just going to step away from the camera for a minute, because I want you to see a sculpture that I got when I was in ministerial school. Because my favorite Ernest Holmes quote is, "We must remain open at the top."
Oh.
And nothing is more open at the top than a tree. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. And and the symbolic of the beautiful crystal below, and the crystals above here. I'm not good with my camera. And this is that silk, that this part is powerful. Did you go away? Are you still there?
No, she just put you on so that
you're so sweet. Oh, my tree. This is a gift from my husband.
Oh.
So yeah. And
see, I told you she was part of my family.
And side note, so one of our facilitators in our school, Amanda Beaumont, she's a potter. She's many things, but she is an incredible artist. And one of our Vistara workshops was nature and pottery. And this was a real leaf that I did not, she helped us figure out how to do all this. And it was a class, but it was really embracing the vibration of the clay, going out and finding pieces of nature that you vibrated with, and then creating something with it. And I can't manufacture what I got out of the feeling of all of this in a book, even though I think a book can be a journey. So it was taking that intellectual, taking that experience, that willingness, reading about it, and then actually putting it into action and doing something. And that was like I love it. I just love it. Yeah.
Now the difference between doing that and reading a book is that reading is learning about it,
Mm-hmm.
and doing it is experiencing it.
Yeah. And I needed
At
both.
the absolute vibratory,
And I needed both.
subcellular level.
Right. And I needed both. And the practitioners in Vistara have both. So we honor the intellectual mind. Of course, they kind of unveil their own, that's a whole nother story, but they unveil what their soul is calling for them. But there's a place for foundational studies, right? I think it's important. That's where we come in, but that's also where Emerson comes in. That's where a lot of consciousness wisdom schools come in. Again, Vistara is here to take all of that and work as partners and saying, this is, go have the experience. Because you and I both know everywhere, every master teacher always says, go have the experience. I feel like I think all of my readings were there to encourage me to go within, to go out here, to have the experiences, because that is where, I've worked with children a lot. And, when we have that physical feeling, that experience, that knowingness that hasn't just been told to us, you can't take that away. That's to me where that's where the foundational stuff comes. That's where my foundation is. I can't just do it because, and that may be my mother's probably listening to this right now, and she would tell you I was a very stubborn little girl. I think I was sweet at times, but I was also stubborn. But I want to know why. I want to feel it. I want to know it. And you just can't be told that. It's about the experience of it all. And I don't know.
Well, as my son's grandmother used to say, whenever I called him stubborn, tenacity is also a virtue.
Well, what I learned
about that, tenacity.
Well, what I learned about that is, like, when stubbornness is in balance, it's a great inner faith.
Yep.
Like, no one's going to tell me that I'm not worthy. No one's going to tell me you're not worthy. I know that we are, and not from a place of arrogance, from a place of love, self-love, and acceptance, and also seeing it for everyone else. But that stubbornness as a child, and if any parent is listening to this, oh my gosh, my mother is probably, if you had a live chat, she would be on that right now. But I don't want her to be, because she would tell all my stories. But for those of you that have stubborn children, I always see that to the extent of their stubbornness is when they find their foundation, when they go on their own journey, when they really discover and remember who they are, that stubbornness in balance it's so faithful. It's so inner. I'm not looking at religion in that way. I'm looking at inner faith. I know who I am. I love who I am, and no one can take that away from me at that point. And that's where stubbornness goes into balance. That's where, like, I believe it is a virtue.
Well, I've always believed that the children are born unpolluted, perfect images with absolute total access to divine mind, wisdom, intelligence, inspiration, all of that. And then when they learn to talk and walk and interact with the world, we plaster so much gunk on the outside of that that they forget.
Oh, yeah.
They forget who they really are. And then if you're really lucky, you're in your mid-20s when you realize that's what's been done. Yeah. And you spend the rest of your life peeling the crap off.
Yeah.
Back to the perfection that was always there in the first place. That's when stubbornness is absolutely a virtue, because stubbornness is tenacity. Stubbornness is knowing as opposed to wishing, dreaming, hoping. Stubbornness is knowing.
That's right. Down here in the South, we say amen, sister.
That's true. I love in the South. One of them is, I hate it for you. Now that one is used two ways.
Yeah.
It can be used in genuine empathy, like at a funeral, or it can be used in a would you like some cheese to go with that wine kind of way. Can you guess how it was used to me the first time?
I bet I can already tell. Empathy. Well, the thing around here, and I don't know is bless your heart.
Oh, that's another one that has 82 different interpretations.
Right. But for me, like my mom meant it. Like my mom was like, bless your heart. Like I really empathize and feel for you, until I got out of my house and realized, oh, I don't think that was sincere. I don't think they want to bless your heart. I was
Yeah,
judging
no.
you behind later. We digress.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Digression is part of the format here. Um,
That's why I love you.
so what's the coolest thing that's happened to you out of the quiet place? I love, by the way, the name. You are not allowed to change the name.
I'm not. I would never, because there's the quiet place. And again, Michael and Cecilia always said they were the custodians of it. And that was the way to honor it. They, even though, yes, they technically own it, and they will continue to, in the trust and everything. But it is, the custodian piece is so critical of and when you put it in, I'm the custodian of versus I own it, the vibration is completely different. And the honoring of that is completely different. And I believe, I don't want to speak. I'm going to get Cecilia on here. You all will fall in love with her.
Yes,
Just like I am. You two will be
information, and I will contact
pod.
her right away.
2 peas in a pod, speaking of Southern tradition. But I feel like after so many conversations, and if anyone in the Quiet Place community, I feel sure would back this up, is the quiet place is the quiet place because of the honoring of the land. No one would ever, Michael would never, ever, ever want to say, I am the healer. He would say, I facilitate healing. I allow it to come through me as me, but you did this for yourself. I'm supporting you, but you did this for yourself. And I've always felt that integrity was really beautiful, because it's about empowerment. And I believe the quiet place is the quiet place because of the beautiful souls that came, even if the souls were struggling at that time, even if they were in pain. There are these beautiful people that are here to remember. And I believe the quiet place is about the community of people that loved and appreciated it. And I believe the land gave something back to them. It's this beautiful circle. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. And it's just, I'm incredibly humble, and I don't know the full path. And if you had told me that in my 20s or my teens, because I wanted to control my path, because I was insecure about, scared, I didn't know what I didn't know. Now it excites me to not know exactly where it's going, but I do have that inner faith, that little stubborn little girl in balance inside of me, just trust.
I want to talk to that stubborn little girl right now for a minute, because there's some questions I'm going to ask you that I ask everybody, and one of them is 10 years from now.
Oh Lord!
Every single thing goes exactly the way you want it to go. Every teeny tiny detail goes exactly the way you want it to go. Mm-hmm. What will Vistara and the Quiet Place look like?
Well, I have to answer that saying I'm asking to serve. So I'm asking to be the vessel of service of this physical place. So the only thing I do know is I'm a servant of that place, and my husband and I both are. And then also there's several practitioners and facilitators in the school that will also do the same thing, because we're a community coming together to do this. And I also know that I feel called to protect the energy of the place, and the protection may not be that, there's 2 different ways of looking at protection, right? There's an ego way of looking at it, like control. And there is I'm going to honor this place every single moment of every single day. And that in itself takes care of that, right? I'm going to clear it and see it and appreciate it and gratitude. Beyond that, I don't have a detailed, the intention will guide the way. That is all I know. And if I get out of my own way sometimes, if I start to want to control things, and I, have this big, 10-year plan of I want to see this, this, and this. Bottom line is, I know that there's something bigger than me that knows more or is guiding the way, that is also part of me. And I'm just asking to tune into that, and sometimes be brave enough maybe, or courageous enough, or strong enough to be able to say a divine no or a divine yes when I tune into the energy, the place, and the intention, and it just guides the way for me. So I don't know if that's really what you were
Oh,
asking.
that's just exactly what I was looking for.
So I still, the biggest intention is a sacred, holy, full of spiritual integrity place where people can remember. And if I think about that too much, I will absolutely cry because I know what it did for me.
So, the next question I usually ask, we've already answered the one about conscious evolution. So the next one I usually ask is about how what you're doing contributes to or supports or enhances world peace. And I'm wondering how you're going to answer that one.
Me too. Let's find out. Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is when there's peace within. Peace is without, not without in the one way, but out. And so what goes on within is going on out here, and then we take this within here and go in, like it's this infinite, beautiful journey. So, and I believe that one person makes a difference. So I believe when one person remembers their wholeness, accepts, embodies their wholeness, knows that they are worthy, knows that, the effects out here and the choices they made, or what they may call mistakes, it's not quite what it seems. My teacher Marion would always say things are not quite what they seem. There's interdimensional things here at play. And I'm big in the quantum exploration. I love that. The star is huge, big into exploring that. But when there's peace within, because we matter, and when you walk on holy ground, knowing that you are really in a way equals, that they're serving each other, I don't see how that cannot ripple out and serve. And the tricky thing about it to me is, finding peace within is not judging your neighbor. I read something really, and how their journey is going, or what they're doing or what they're not doing. And I read something really recent, and I apologize for not calling this author out right now because I can't remember where it was right now. But I think it was a book about quantum physics or something like that. And he said, the most powerful thing, this kind of goes with your question, the most powerful thing, we can do is know thyself. And know it when you know thyself, you're at peace. To me, I mean, it's just because we are made whole, we are whole. But he said that's the key. And he said all major religions, of course, and you'll probably know this more than me in detail, but all major religions, the golden rule is at the core of all of those religions. Do unto others, and of course here in Christianity, do unto others as you would do unto other, have to, that thing, do unto others as you would have done unto it.
Unto you, and there are 23 or 24 different versions of that.
There are. And if you go, I mean, I didn't do the research, but I allowed someone else to do the research for me. I read about it, and I remember being in awe of that. But he said, and this is probably me working on so I'm a spiritual counselor mentor with children all the way up to adults in their 80s, and then also I do intuitive sessions as well. And so I'm a student of my clients all the time. But especially working younger, teenagers and college age kids, and also relating this to myself, he said, you have to pair the golden rule. If the golden rule is on its own and you do not pair it with know thyself. So the last time I am on the front lines with these kids a lot, from teaching to now. And the biggest epidemic of the world is self-worth, right? And our children. And there's lots of reason for that. And everybody can point fingers all over the place. The bottom line, it's here. Children are leaving us in droves. And there's a lot of struggle. And self-worth is not there. So if you're telling someone, do unto others as you would have do to yourself, how are people treating themselves? This author, and I will try to text you the author's name because this is not my work. This is his work. But boy, that made so much sense to me. So he said, so if we're not, if we don't go on the journey of knowing thyself and who we are at our core and find that inner peace and understanding what we really are and what we're not, then you're going to cancel each other out. You're going to judge the heck out of your neighbor. You're going to criticize them. You're going to hate them. You're going to have all these feelings because you're also doing that to yourself. But when you know thyself and you pair, oh, it makes me want to cry again, Lord, know thyself, and you pair it with the golden rule.
You know,
What's better than that?
When I do commercials for this show, one of the things I always say is that I have never failed to learn something from every single interview.
Oh, amen.
And what I just learned from you is that I've always believed that peace is our natural state.
I do too.
We don't create peace, we unveil peace. But
absolutely,
better, we have to remember peace.
That's it. And
I want a bumper sticker that says, remember peace. That's all we need.
And remember thyself. Remember thyself.
Everybody, if you peace, boom,
right?
World peace.
If you remember thyself, you are peace.
Yep.
And I don't know where I read this either. I feel so bad. I'm not giving credit to these authors, but it, and again, I think many people have repeated this. I don't think this is new probably to a lot of your audience, but at the core of who we are, you remove personality trauma, you remove, and it's hard to remove that. So I'm not saying that in a light way. I'm not spiritually bypassing that by any means. But when you remove all this earthly gunk stuff that you were describing at the beginning of this conversation, our true nature is to love, to be loved, and to serve, which to me is a definition of peace. To love, to be loved, and to serve. So you're right. It's not about creating that. And I tell my clients all the time, my job is simple and easy because I know your truth. You may just not know it yet, but I know that you're whole. I know you're amazing. I don't care what you've done or haven't done. I know that about you. And so I just get here to be reflecting because I know myself. And if I know myself, I know you. So I'm just going to reflect that because we're not creating something new. But I don't have to try to create something new in you. It's just removing that which is blocking your memory.
Yeah.
And then you'll have it.
That's the best world peace answer I ever heard.
Oh, I have a feeling you said to everybody, but
here's the last one. The one I ask, the one I ask every single person. Mm-hmm. Hold on just a second while I prepare, because the last question.
There's a graphic for this one.
Is, will you come back?
Oh, you're so cute. You know I will. Will you come to the quiet place?
You bet your boots I will. Now, the first opening I have is March 19th of next year. Can I pencil you in?
Oh, that's my nephew. Of course. That's my nephew's birthday. I love him. Yeah, that's a beautiful date.
Right. I will put you down for March 19th of next year, and you get me that Cecilia's contact information.
Oh, I will. I'm going to hang up and call her.
All righty. And the great news that I have for the folks who are watching right now is that next week's guest is another real winner. I don't have anything but real winners, but this guy is Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer. He's the president of the board of Anton, but his ministry is called Urban Street Angels. He works with unhoused people, and he is so passionate and so committed and so wonderful with them. You don't want to miss it. So be sure you're here next week to see Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.